So hope you guys have gone through the recording, whoever is couldn't able to attend the previous session. Any questions?
Surendra,
Yeah.
sorry. So I'm not able to see that recording last class.
So which folder you are seeing actually?
So 26th batch folder.
Oh, for everyone, you are able to see the 26th. Okay. For this folder, seems to be you are able to see all these sessions.
We have received only 11 videos, 11 or 12 videos.
It means that is not the correct one. That is the previous session. So your folder is 27. Here it has only one session, that is which you have completed. Okay, I will reprovision your access sets with this folder name. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So seems to be a wrongly given permission on batch number 26th. That might be the problem. So what I will do, I will remove the access in this folder. I will reassign it to the 27th so that it will be dedicated sessions for your batch. Yeah. Fine, Venkat.
Yeah, fine, Surendra.
Okay, done. So let me give a small recap what we have discussed in the previous session, right? So in the previous session, we have seen very basic things with respect to how the data center look like, how the racks you could able to identify, how the hardware will be look like, switches, storage, and other stuff. And immediately we have talked about legacy data centers and the modern data centers, whereas in the modern data centers you have your virtualization came into the picture, and it does allow us to run multiple operating systems on top of a single hardware. That multiple operating system technically will be calling it as a virtual machines. So whichever the cloud platform like you're going to work on from like with when you get an opportunity, whether it can be an Azure, AWS, GCP, Oracle, Alibaba, Rackspace, whatever you name it, this is a terminology you might be seeing as a virtual machine as a keyword, right? This virtual machine as a keyword is referring to that it is a running on a virtualization platform somewhere in the backend that physical hardware is maintaining by the cloud vendor. Is it understanding clear, folks? Yeah. Okay. And then immediately we have discussed about a cloud over data centers. So what are all the difficulties? And I didn't talk about anything technical terminologies like scalability, reliability, availability. I didn't use these terminologies at all in the previous session. So I was discussed on a very basic level to make you guys comfortable with the technology of a cloud, right? So why the people is choosing over the data center or cloud, right? So that's where we have talked about very basic things with respect to why we are choosing a cloud as a platform, right, to our businesses. So that's the thing we have discussed. And at the end of the session, like I believe last 5-10 minutes of a previous session, we have talked about cloud models as well. So when someone is referring on premises in your discussions, in your meetings, it meant to be it is complete data center owning by the customer and then managing end-to-end layers by his own. That environment will call it as an on-premises environment. And then when it comes to cloud models, it is generic across the cloud platforms, that is infrastructure as service, IaaS, platform as a service, we'll call it as a PaaS, and software as a service, we'll call it as a SaaS. Right, these are all three different cloud models we do have, right? When it comes to infrastructure as service, whereas from the basic, from the hardware management, from a data center management, from an electricity, broadband, network, right, your virtualization, hardware, storage, till that virtualization layer will be handling by your cloud vendor, creation of a virtual machine based on our own required OS, installing middlewares, runtime, and getting our own data, running our own application. So if we are taking a responsibility from the layer of creation of a virtual machine only to the application. So this one will call it as a infrastructure as a service. Is it clear, folks? What is mean by infrastructure as service, IaaS? Any questions?
Surendra, I didn't get you. What can you explain?
So you have an understanding what is mean by data center.
Yeah.
So when it comes to data center, we have to manage all the layers, correct? Like renting out of data center, purchasing the physical hardware, maintaining the engineers, getting into the network, purchasing the broadband to communicate with outside world, right? Purchasing the storage, network, servers, I mean physical hardwares, and installing the virtualization. Is that clear till that level, Saidu?
Yeah. Clear.
What infrastructure as service cloud offers, you don't have any visibility with these layers, whatever I discussed now. Of a data center, hardware, network, storage, you don't have any visibility, right? You have visibility only come to the cloud portals. It can be any cloud. So you just come and create an operating system based on your own requirement and use it. You never bother what is the virtualization, who is maintaining the license, who is managing the virtualization beneath the physical hardware, storage and network, whatnot, everything. But
Okay.
your concern is creating of an operating system only. From that level to installing your own softwares on the operating system, bringing the data, running the application, that is in with we managing as a cloud administrator, as a cloud engineer. So
Okay.
this kind of a services will be called as an infrastructure as service.
Okay. Got
Okay,
it.
Saidu. Assume that you don't have an expertise of installing an operating system also. It means you don't know how to log into the server, how to install a softwares, right? In such cases, what cloud providers will do, so they will run along with the virtualization layer. They will manage the operating system of a virtual machine, middleware, and runtime softwares, right? As you are being a developer in this scenario, assume that you are being a developer, you don't know anything about a servers, installations, and other stuff. You just bring your data, run the application. Clear?
Clear.
So in such cases, we'll call it as a platform as a service, right? It means you are getting a platform, not an infrastructure, right? Third one is software as a service. What does it mean? It means you don't want to get a data and run the application also. You have enough amount of money and you have enough amount of a requirement, whereas you will just pay for the licenses and use the product. Best examples is like what are we are being used today, like Gmails, Facebook, your organization email, right? Your O365 mailboxes today. So all those things, who is handling? Let's say Gmail, you are using it today. Are we managing Gmail data center, Gmail virtualization, or Gmail application operating system? Nothing, nowhere we have been interfering, correct? But as an end user, I will just go subscribe and use the service, right? That kind of a products will call it as a software as a service. You just go say that, boss, I need these many licenses. I have these many engineers to use your product, cut for a deal and make use of it.
Okay. So
Okay.
now every company is preferring software as a service.
It is not like every company. So every organization is like, I could say, is mandate to use the SaaS platforms, because let's say if you're taking any company today, right? I will take you an example of, you might be working it today for TCS, right? But you are using Word, PowerPoint, or Outlook, right? These products are owning by whom? Office products is owning by
Microsoft.
Microsoft. It means Microsoft is best in the business while providing your mail services or office products, right? So that what you will do, you will go to Microsoft saying that, boss, I have 10,000 employees. This is what I could pay. I need these many licenses. Similarly, you will go to Oracle because Oracle is good at their own business. Let's say if you want to run Oracle database, right? When it comes to Oracle DB, you cannot get the same solution with other vendors. You need to go and buy licenses from there. Or their SaaS products. I mean, not a database, I could say. They have their own SaaS products. Similarly, you will go to SAP. SAP has their own products because SAP as an organization, they will build the products. As the end users will go and make use of it as a SaaS platform.
Oh,
Because every organization cannot have their all the products but developed by themselves. Everywhere, every company have a dependency with other company.
yeah, correct.
Right. That's where SaaS products, yes, in most of the scenarios, like you might need to, as being an administrator, we have a separate session on Active Directory, whereas you'll be responsible to make use of third-party company product by using your own organization credential, that is single sign-on. Right. Today, in your scenario, you will be using SharePoint as a service, right? When you're logging into SharePoint as a service, you're not entering your credentials. It's automatically getting you in.
Correct.
Similarly, when you want to use O365, Microsoft One, it will automatically takes your credentials. So these are SaaS platforms. How the product is owning by some other company and you are able to log in using your company username and password. So how that federation is configured, right? That is responsibility by our Azure team only. Okay, we have dedicated sessions on it, whereas I will show you multiple third-party products like your ServiceNow. Hope definitely all of you guys have an idea about ServiceNow as a ticketing system for your service requests, change management, problem management, incident management,
Yeah, we have it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. ServiceNow is a product, is a ticketing product. It is not owning by your company. It's separate organization, but we are using as a SaaS platform. Say that, boss, I am having these many users. You give me the service. That's it,
Correct.
right? In this scenario, the SaaS platforms will come into the picture, and we have dedicated session how you can onboard third-party products into your organization using an Azure Active Directory. We have a sessions. That's where you'll get more clarity as well. At least on a high level and a layman terminology, hope you guys are understanding, right? Infrastructure where we are responsible to build our own application, getting an operating system and everything. Platform where we'll not take care of virtual machine, we'll just care about data and application to up and running. Software will not even care about data and application, completely handled by the vendor. You just go and purchase or subscribe and make use of it. Right? These are all the different cloud models we have. Any questions, guys, with this three models, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS?
No, sir.
Okay. So next slide will be the examples I have just mentioned: infrastructure related virtual machine, networking, storage in Azure, load balancers in Azure. We'll talk about them, web servers and databases in as a platform as service. SaaS, I mentioned your emails, O365, Facebook, and other stuff. But I will give you an URL where you could have complete segregation of a technical differentiation of all Azure provided services. Just wait for a while, probably today's session. As soon as we get into the as Microsoft Azure as a services, I will share you the URL and I will also go through in this session as well that have a segregation of all Azure services, like which part of it belongs to. It is technical scenario. It's not, it is very difficult that you cannot remember on a thousands of services providing by cloud and which services belongs to IaaS, which belongs to PaaS and SaaS models. We have a segregation in the one of the third party URL. We could see that. Yeah. Now, as of now, we discussed cloud models. Now I just want to discuss about cloud types. Okay. If you see here, public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. right? What are these three cloud computing types we have? Public cloud in the sense, whatever you have been seeing in the market or in the business, right? Your AWS, Azure, GCP, Oracle Cloud. These are all products, right? Will called as a public cloud. It means anyone can go ahead and subscribe and make use of the cloud services, right? That will call it as a public cloud. Private cloud in the sense, you cannot, this private cloud is nothing but your data center, but you might have converted or orchestrated your on-premises data center as a cloud data center. It means whatever the features you will be getting as a public cloud, you will also do the similar operations in private cloud, but that is not meant to use by everyone. That is only work within your organization, and it is only the backend infrastructure also. We need to take a responsibility similar to your on-premises, right? For that, Azure has a product we'll call it as a Azure Stack. So what that particular Azure Stack will do, it will convert your on-premises data center services into a Azure cloud services, but that is dedicated only to your business. Why it is typically needed, guys? Any guess? Why private cloud is needed?
Secure purpose.
Yeah, that's correct. So if I have a banking services, if I have a trading information, so the people will not believe with the public cloud that if it is kind of a shared one is somewhere sitting with the vendor data centers. I don't want to have a belief in them. So what I will do, I am having my own money. I have a resources. I have purchased already the hardware with the latest licenses and latest technology. So instead of wasting that, what I will do, I will invest further amount of money and then convert that as a private cloud data center. Right?
So
So
I have a question here.
yeah.
Yeah, when you say private cloud is secure, how about public? If any application hosted on public, it won't be secure, or what type of security we have in public cloud
So
for an
when it comes
application?
to cloud, it is not like cloud providers will give us something, Chiranjeevi. Like it is our own standard which we configure. So the what cloud services will do, cloud will give a plain slate,
Mhm.
right? What we do in that slate that is with completely with the customer. Let's say if I create a virtual machine in a cloud, I can access it directly like anyone else in the world.
Mhm.
But my standard of security I need to build and I need to define saying that boss, at any point in time for a virtual machine, I will block the public access. First point. Second thing, I will invest further amount of money. I will build a firewall saying that anything which is comes into the virtual machine, first you land on a firewall, then come to the virtual machine. Again, one more layer security I will involve WAF. That will help me with the cyber attacks. If someone is intruding to my network, that will help in blocking that. So these are all with respect to cost, right? Everything for anything in cloud, like we need to bear some cost out of it. That's where our design will come into the picture, right? How we are gonna actually build the environment.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Oracle also, I believe, have their own private cloud platform. I don't recollect the name, but yeah, have their own.
Oh, here they call it as OCA and OCA OCIC. Is that the
Uh,
one?
yeah, hexa box something they will give it, no?
No,
Instead
that's
of having,
Exadata.
yeah.
Exadata, those are the hard. I mean, like core hardware actually, engineered
Correct.
servers.
So what they will do if you say that I don't believe in your cloud, what you will do, Oracle as a company, they will bring their own hardware of Hexadata and give it in your run it in your own data center.
Right.
That function as a Oracle cloud
Right.
altogether, right? So that's nothing but private cloud. So hybrid cloud is something like where you will maintain both the things, private and public together. Like the customer, some people will say that as a similar scenario, an example which you're asking, no, Chiranjeevi, like I don't want to run my production in public. I will run it in my private, but non-prod, I don't have any concern. Let me use cloud as a platform for dev, SIT, UAT, and production I will run it on private. So this kind of make use of both the available environments. We'll call it as a hybrid cloud environments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any restrictions, while hosting? Like for example, I have an application which has HTTPS, which I need to go for. Can I go for public cloud as well, right?
Yes, yes. Of course you can. So that's what the HTTPS, if you want to access the application, the prerequisite has to be met, right? The port should listen on 443,
Right.
have your certificate to be there for SSL offloading, all of that, whether you can offload at virtual machine, you can offload at firewall, you can offload at WAF, right?
No, no.
Load balancers. So this is
Yeah.
design.
No, no.
We
My question is like for the public cloud also, we can go with these offerings, right? Whatever we need,
Yes,
we
yes.
can go for. Okay.
You should go typically. You should go. Otherwise, we cannot give a guarantee, right? If you're an HTTP based application, it means unsecure. Anybody
No,
can get into the application.
no. The question where I'm saying, like, the HTTP port, right? Like, it's
Mhm,
dedicated port. When you say
mhm.
public, right? Whatever along with me, like, for example, like you are the one who is hosting some other application. Is there
Understand.
any is there any conflict? I mean, that's why how this port mechanism works over there, because we're not assigning a static, like, static port, right? It's a static port. It's not dynamic.
I
Ports,
understand. So
how
like
how to go
ports
with
will
the port
be,
function? Yeah,
yeah, when it comes to ports, these are universal. It cannot be changed. Like
yeah, that's right.
RTP 3389,
Correct.
SSH22, your HTTP is 80, HTTPS is 44. These are all universal port numbers. Yes, when it comes to cloud, each and every environment, each and every customer is isolated with each other. You doesn't know
In
that
public
you have
also, in public
in
cloud
public
also.
also. Yes,
Okay,
in
that's my
public
question.
cloud also, you cannot feel that you have someone else is sitting next to you. You feel
Okay,
that you are isolated, you have dedicated,
okay, clear.
right? That management, that setup will completely handling by your vendors.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, that place is guaranteed. And the IPs, which is dedicated to our environment, so the request will come and land on our workloads only.
right, right.
That will never get conflict.
Okay.
Yeah, that goes question. So anything else about this public, private, hybrid cloud, guys?
For the hybrid cloud, like how the storage works, like because when we are working on, like, clubbing public and private for hybrid cloud, how the storage, because for public, if dedicated public cloud, we go with our own setup, right? Like, storage configuration and, like, application hosting and all.
Mm.
Private is again, it's similar, but it's like, isolate, I mean, dedicated environment. It comes to hybrid, how the storage going to, because both public and private, both connections need to access the storage, right?
Yes,
How,
that's absolutely correct. You have storage services in Azure as well as in our on-premises.
right,
Like I believe like your question more in terms of how the connectivity between these two. If
right, because dedicated single
yeah.
storage, but like, public and private both are, in hybrid, it's
So we
both
have
connections.
correct. When we are referring to the hybrid cloud environment, like it is needed to every organization today scenario because when I'm getting into the cloud, it is not meant that I'm starting my business today, right? I am already established organization, but I was fond to use the cloud, correct? That is how every business situated, apart from some kind of a startup companies, startup
Right.
products, rest everything will be with this scenario only. So what they typically do first in place, whichever the cloud vendor to their on-premises or their private cloud or public cloud, what they will do, they will establish the connectivity and a network layer. Okay, that
Okay.
connectivity part will call as a VPNs, right? Virtual private network they will establish, right? With that only they could communicate whether what is not only about storage, it can be any service, vice versa. We could define what to connect, what not to connect between these two using a VPN technologies. That VPN technologies, we have dedicated session. We're gonna create our VPN sessions as well as part of our training session.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, no. I think, I just reiterated my question here.
Yes,
What my
please.
thing is, like, when you say public, right? You
Mhm.
said, like, we are just like, using the services provided by the vendor directly, because
Correct.
the configurations are by our own. When it
Correct.
comes to private, as you said, like, it's like, similar to data center, where like, we are just isolating or, making as using as an internet network, basically, where it's secure to the organization, where like, the project team, operations will be happen within the organization. I mean, it's in a private space.
Correct.
So when you say hybrid, right? So if I'm clubbing both, like, when I'm using like, a public, a piece of application hosted on public cloud, and when you talk about like, in the private cloud, I'm hosting my database, for example.
Correct.
Right. So how this, like, network is fine. My question is like, when you're accessing the database, what is the major difference? Because I didn't see any difference here, because in the public cloud also, the database, as you said, like, everything is isolated to a customer, right?
That's
So
correct.
when you're using our private cloud in the hybrid model, how this, like, data flow will happen? Network is fine. I'm talking about how the application, like, pulling and, see, it need to be bi-directional, right? Data need to be, like, we need to push and pull the data from the database, correct?
Yes,
How
yes,
this,
I got your
how this flow
question.
will happen? Yeah.
Yeah, I got your question. So in your example, I will just take like for an application to DB connectivity you are referring. Assume that you don't have a private, you don't have a hybrid. Assume
Right.
that you are having only one environment. It can be a public, it can be a private only. Assume that in that scenario,
Right.
your application, your DB sitting next to each other, right?
Mhm.
When
Right.
the read and write, when the data you want to import or export from application to the database, that will happen quick because you are in the same network. It's an isolated network, but still you are sitting next to each other,
Right.
right? So the data flow will be quick because
Correct.
you don't have to go to any other hops. It will never come in any kind of an other networks will not come in between your application and DB. In a scenario where you want to keep your web application alone in a cloud, database is sitting at on-premises,
Right.
right? That traffic, all the way that has to travel physically from a cloud network, from a cloud data center to on-premises data center. In
Right.
between, at a minimum to minimum, 10 to 15 physical devices or virtual devices it has to cross to hit the DB and get back the response.
Correct.
In such designs, definitely you will face the latency issues. Application will be slow,
Okay.
right? So this is an expected behavior. We cannot do anything on that because we are keeping like the database and application altogether two different data centers, right? When you are hitting the database, your packet has to go out of the cloud data center, travel over the internet, and reaching your on-premises data center internet, and then hit your DB,
Okay.
right? Again, this packet we cannot send altogether as a sample one, right? It means that packet also can be hacked.
Mhm.
Okay. Again, when it comes to security, what we will do, we will encrypt that packet and send it to the internet.
Okay.
Right? Encryption will happen while sending, while receiving decryption will happen. So in this manner, it is expected that you will have a very large latency.
Okay.
That's where we always have to plan or design a solution, our application in a manner that application and DB should be in a same region, same location, preferably same region in a public or a private. You keep both at any one of it. It's not mandatory that you need to keep it in cloud. So if you feel that latency, you bring the web application to on-prem, or else bring the DB to the cloud. Either ways you have to do,
Okay.
right?
Right. And okay, you said public private. When you saw hybrid, like, on premise also, like, one of the additional option. I mean, like,
Yeah,
is that
on-premises also you need to consider as one of the destination or resource when it comes to hybrid.
okay? Yeah.
So let me type so that you will see these images. Hybrid cloud, right? I'm just going to image. So what typically here happening? Public private combination they're calling as a hybrid,
Right.
right? As simple as that. It's a combination. One end can be a private, one end can be an on-prem. It's nothing but hybrid. It hybrid in the sense you are having more than one. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
So another one question. why some companies, some environments, they will like on-premises only. Is it very secure on-premises?
So one reason is yes, they feel that they don't want to keep their data center because some of the European countries they will say that their data should reside in their own country, right? That is one reason. And second reason is yes, when it comes to they feel that it's a secure in the data center. It is not like in cloud is unsecure. They feel that when I keep the resource in my data center, I feel it's a secure. And the banking, trading, they'll feel it's a critical data and they don't want to put it in a public cloud platform. And third important thing is like now we have seen pandemic, right? Everybody started working on the formulas to give us the vaccinations, right? Somewhere in the behind it requires a software, it requires a platform to run, correct? Do you think that this kind of critical formula related information they will willing to keep it in a public cloud?
No.
For them, it's a kind of a huge business, right? They won't take risks. And one more example, if you see defense services, Department of Defense, right? I cannot keep my Indian Army's data, right? Indian defense information in a cloud, which is owning by cloud vendor, right? So these are all the scenarios. And one more important scenario, whereas that you might have already invested huge amount in on-premises. You have a licenses to be used next 4 or 5 years, right? All of a sudden, if you start want to use a cloud, all these efforts will go away, right? Your cost, your licenses, your hardware is nothing to be useful. That's where you'll consider, okay, let me run in on-prem. These are different scenarios where choosing over on-prem to cloud.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Venkat, Shiva, Harsha, able to follow?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds great. So I will come to the question. So I will give you a real-time example as well. So why and data center will be used for privately, why they're not in public, we'll discuss in this session itself. So I'm just giving this global infrastructure. So across the globe, like Microsoft is having 54 regions. So this region count might be varied. Now I believe it's 58 is the count. All right, 54 Azure regions. Now I guess it's 58 Azure regions available to use for 140 countries across the globe. This cloud services, each data center, like how we'll maintain in our home as an internet, right? 50 Mbps broadband, 10 Mbps of a broadband. In Azure data center, they will maintain up to 1.6 petabytes of a bandwidth in when it comes to internet speed. The bandwidth will be in petabytes, not in a MBs, gigabytes, terabytes. It is in petabytes of a bandwidth, right? And this is the link. I will also give you the chart, and in our folder also I will maintain this as a useful links. All right. So whereas you could go ahead and visualize and see where exactly the data centers, I will come back to this screen. Before that, I just want to show you this. So if you guys seeing this map, whereas now this particular map is not available, they're given a different model altogether. So this is some around 2 years before I captured this and been using for my trainings. So if you see, these are all the global presence for Microsoft Azure, all right? Whereas wherever you could see the circles, blue color circles, right? These are all Microsoft is having a physical data centers, all right? It's been built and then available as a region. Each physical location, we'll call it as a region in Azure terminology. Clear, guys? If you see in India, how many regions we have? South India, Central India, and West India. These are three data centers, three different regions we have. Clear? And if you see some data centers which is there in um, Europe region, are you able to see something called Germany North Public, Germany Northeast East Sovereign? Are you able to see that? All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means when it comes to Germany Center Sovereign means it is meant for to use only US government, not for end users for us. So the Microsoft has built a data center. What Germany government said, I will pay and I will make use of entire data center. So that is created, configured, and managed by Microsoft, but paying and using dedicatedly by Germany government. Similarly, you could see that similar scenario in US. Are you able to see some regions here? US DOD Central, US DOD East, US government Arizona, US government Texas, US government Virginia. Are you able to see this in US region, guys? DOD and GOV, right? DOD stands for Department of Defense. It means US government defense services, right? Their services is running in Microsoft Azure. US government applications are running at Microsoft Azure. Okay. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So nowadays they have removed this part from the officially from the portal unless you are go ahead manual and check, click on it, and then you are able to see. Otherwise, they're not populating this government and defense related data centers in a public forum. All right. And you could see somewhere on a dotted circles. Able to notice in Israel, Qatar, Mexico, Taiwan, somewhere in Europe regions like Greece, Spain, Austria, Poland. If you see these are all, you could see some kind of dotted circles. What is mean by these dotted circles? These are all announced regions by Microsoft. It means they said we'll bring these data centers. So some of these data centers currently live now actually. I'm just using it for an example purpose, but some of the data centers are now currently completed and they're up and running and available for business. Okay. Apart from dotted circles, are you able to see some kind of a white color rhombus symbols within the blue color circles?
Yeah, West US is 3.
Yeah, you could see Singapore, Europe, East US, West US, and all other stuff. This is technically we'll call them as a availability zones. Within a region, they will maintain one or more zones. It's nothing but one or more data center for a high availability purpose. For now, just remember that as a keyword called availability zone. We have a dedicated session to discuss what is mean by availability. In the availability, what are all the different kind of an options? Clear? Yeah. Any questions?
No, Surendra.
Yes, yes. One question.
Yes, please.
So in admin part, so we are dealing with the data centers.
No, you
No,
won't.
no, right?
You don't have visibility also.
Okay.
So if you are dealing with a data center, it is not cloud.
Okay.
So that's where we don't want to in that layer. That's where people will go to the cloud that your vendor, in this case, Microsoft, right? Microsoft create and manage the data centers by their own. They will give you one URL, one web page. That is where your entire work. If you have an internet, one browser, you are able to access one particular URL called portal.azure.com. That is where your entire work is going to reside.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have any other dependency for your training or your practice.
Okay.
So I was just browsing and giving this URL also for your folks, right? Let me see to paste this in a chart. So in this URL, typically you could uh, find the entire information, right? What exactly been available and where it is available. So before going to products available to by region, I want to show you the geography. So whatever I have been shown you just before, right? So that is the border image. Now they are giving you some kind of an image like this, right? So let me give some idea, explore the globe. They have given us the globe moving symbol similar to AWS. Earlier, the image which I have shown, that is how it looked like. So
we're not able to get the link. We didn't get that link.
no problem. I will paste it in the WhatsApp group. Yeah, I will do that, and I will also upload this Excel file also in the in our training folder. Yeah. Okay. If you see here, you have these are all data centers as I mentioned. So if you just grab this with your mouse, move this, right? How your if you want to know how this global infrastructure works, all those things they will mention how the building blocks of Azure, everything you could see. So this is what the locations for you. So this could give how exactly they're building availability zones and other stuff. But before that, I just want to show you the regions. Let's say if you are clicking on East US, if you just click on it, it will give you where the data center looks, where it is physically location. So I'm saying East US, you don't know exact location, right? It's in Virginia, right? Stored at rest, it means it in their own region. At the year it's been opened. Right, like that you can explore the entire globe and see if you see the network level also how these data centers between Microsoft Azure has been connecting. This is the live connection, guys. Are you able to see the connectivity, the network layer, undersea cables? These cables are laid down under the sea bit to communicate between the Azure data centers. Every data center has a communication between each other using Azure backbone network. How this backbone network typically works? Using undersea cables. Clear? If I see the India, if I click on it, South India, they will say when it has been opened. It is typically very South India. It's meant it is Chennai. Yes, correct. Its location is Chennai. It is opened at 2015. Nearest regions to for this is Central India. Like this, you can have explore the things where and all you have a data centers across the globe. This is our updated one, right? The image which I took, that particular format they have removed from Microsoft official blog. So I was just been using for your understanding purpose, but this is the updated one which you could explore. Clear? So I'm just going back to the URL to show you again that this is geographic region. Similarly, you could see the global network as well. It's a similar example, only explore the globe. It will give you similar diagram of how your network a map between the locations has been connected today. So it is similar one. Able to see that, right? So how exactly you have your network been laid down across your regions, across your Microsoft Azure regions. You can roll it however you want and then click on it and then see. Let's see if I'm in India. If you see here it is CMB. Here we have a South Central India, that is your Hyderabad. They have just announced it. If you see this symbol now, they have changed the gray color ones. Wherever you are seeing, what does this mean? It is announced regions. Now they have announced, if you guys are following some kind of a news, and last month, Hyderabad KTR has announced that Microsoft is coming up with a new data center in Hyderabad. Right, that is what officially announced. They are working on it. So this data center will be available coming soon in Hyderabad as well in India. It will become fourth data center in India. Okay. This is how you could explore. And most important thing when you are this particular URL products available region, right? This is the URL will be at the beginning of your career. This will be very much helpful because in a cloud, if you name it like services, it can be hundreds and thousands and lakhs of services, right? You don't know which service is available, which location. It's not like everything is available everywhere, correct? Let's say any service which comes to your mind to use in cloud platform. Anything, guys? Be it a virtual machine storage, network, application, database. Any service which comes to your mind, so that I will show you how you can check that product is available or not in your required region or required country. Shall we see that?
Yeah.
Let's say I'm just typing Azure database for Postgres, for example, right? If you see, currently I'm selected United States and India. If you see in United States, this Postgres DB as a database, it is available. When it comes to flexible servers of a Postgres is not available in West Central US. And the same time, this hyperscale of Postgres DB is not available in West US 3. So why I'm showcasing these symbols now is because when you are dealing with some customer, this URL helps in identify the customer is asking in one location. Before you are committing him that yes, boss, whatever you are requesting, I will deliver it. Right. Before committing to the business, just come to the screen, validate the services, whether these are all available at first in place in the specified or required region. Clear? Tick mark is generally available. This empty square box represents in preview. Right, in it is filled with blue color, it will be in preview only. Expected time frames you could see. If you see this symbol with the kind of a watch symbol refers to future availability. If nothing is there, there is no plans to bringing in now or near future. Right. Similarly, I'm just gonna remove my database and let's say let me type virtual machines are you guys are familiar with machine learning now as a keyword, right? Everybody is using this technology called machine learning, IoT services. Yeah. So I'm just typing IoT. It's kind of an advanced services, right? So Azure IoT Hub, if I want to use. If you see Azure IoT device update for IoT Hub is not even available anywhere in any location in US. That too, it is in preview in West US too, but other than that, is not even available in any of the US region. If you want to check, these regions can be selected based on your own requirement. I'm just selecting India now. I removed US. If you see in India, the service is available in Central India, South India, not in West India. Is nothing is available. All right. So like this, you can determine which resource is available under which region. That you can identify, right, based on this particular official link. So once you have, you know what services you have been creating, how you are creating, right, then you don't need to much concern about it. But initially, to get your familiar with the system, right, this particular thing will be helpful. You name it anything in this actually. So everything it will say that it is available or not.
So there are one question here.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you talk of hello.
Yes, yes, please. Yeah, I
Yeah.
could hear you. Chiranjeev.
Yeah, when you talk about like this cloud, right? Like why customer will ask us like about the specific regions. For example, like is it a
Understand.
server? Yeah, it can
I
be
got.
hosted anywhere, right? Why like we need to go with a specific option of like region selection here.
Let's say now I will take an example of let's say IaaS is an application. All right.
Okay,
IaaS is an application is using by whom? Majority of the people from where?
India.
India. So Azure has a data centers across the globe.
Okay,
If I place my IaaS application, let's say in central India, which is middle of the country, if whoever is trying to access the application, where my request will land, from my internet, it will land on my central India and give back the service. It means all the way I have to my packet, my request has to travel and then get the response back.
okay,
Similar scenario, if I could place my IRCTC in US region, US data center of Azure.
okay,
So assume that how my packet will flow. It has to go to undersea cable across all the globe, hit the server, comes back. You will see the latency difference, right? So that's where selection of a region, selection of a location will always be very cautious, and we need to select where the actual business is originating or where the business is actually running. let's say as being an administrator, like all of us can sit in India, but your product is actually serving somewhere in Spain, right?
Okay.
You need to serve a data center which is near to your Spain location so that your end users will not feel the latency or a frustration, right? Best example is we have Amazon.in today, correct?
Okay.
So I'm just going to my browser. I'm hitting Amazon.in. So what is .in will stands for? It's for India website. I may get a response immediately, right? I'm going to access Amazon of US, Amazon.com. Where it will go? It will go and land on a US. It is not belongs to India actually, right? You will see that sudden kind of very small latency when you're accessing the applications which is meant to use by their own regions or their own end users.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Here again, I have a question. You said like you are hosting an IRCT application in Central India. If there is a chance of data center, the particular center center failure. What
Hmm.
will be the fate? I mean, fate of the site IRCTC? Because when you are going to a cloud, like we need to have this data, secure data, right? When they, I mean,
Understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what my question is like
Oh,
when
I
when you can have when you show the globe, it's saying like they have 60 regions, they can scatter data. If you
hmm.
are specifically selecting the data center,
Hmm,
if
hmm.
something happens to the data center, it got like a
I
failure
got
like,
your
for
question.
X. Yeah.
Yeah, so seems to be earlier I have wrongly been understand. So now I got your question. So what you're referring is that I'm having an application, I'm choosing any specific one location. What if that location went down with the
Correct.
natural
That's my,
calamities, with
that's
the
my point. Because when you are giving an option to a customer to select, US customer will select US data center by seeing US, the
mm,
naming convention.
mm, mm,
So yeah, it doesn't make big difference like if you go for on-premise or a cloud, right?
I
So
understand that. So when it comes to availability, Chiranjeevi, like,
yeah,
so as a cloud, it will give you the services. Again, we need to invest some more amount of money again to provide high availability.
right,
Right, even data center in on-premises also, if something went bad when
correct,
respect
correct.
to physical location or network disconnectivity or a power failure or an natural calamities and power accidents, right? When it happens, your data center will go down, you will not have able to access the application. It is as much as similar to Azure also. There is no kind of hyper science with the cloud. No, answer is no. It is the data center only. But what cloud services we could offer you is that by investing some more little bit amount of money, it will allow us to choose high availability options. It means you can have an high availability options to run your services effectively. It will also provide you for a disaster scenario as well, right? DR, you might have heard of this name, BCDR,
Yes, yeah,
business continuity and disaster recovery. What it means, hope all of you guys are working some kind of an organization. I'm sure that you might have experienced that sometimes you will get in your office all the time. All of a sudden, all your emergency rings will come in. Everybody will exit in from the steps, not from the lift. You will all will assemble in one certain area,
right,
right? Hope you guys have done this part, right? Why you are doing this? Because they will examine when there's a real disaster comes in, how effectively we are evacuating the building, how effectively we are securing the employees, right? Similarly, we have to perform our own drills in cloud or on-premises, Chiranjeev. For our
okay,
workloads, we need to think that, okay, today disaster happens, how my application should run from US to Mexico,
okay,
right? Let's say today, Russia or Ukraine, your services are there in Ukraine, for example, your services will go down, right? So before, as an enterprise level of a company, we need to think over when there's a disaster comes in, how we need to survive our business.
okay, yeah,
For that, we
okay,
need to plan actually. We have services, solutions are available for your question.
okay. And can you come back to your PPT, the presentation PPT? I have a question there. Yeah, the PPT. Yeah, can you come to this, the chart which you show? Yeah, here. See here, what is that availability zone then?
Yeah, I have a dedicated session for you on that.
No,
So
here, when you showed that, right? So I just got
see.
confused with that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So for now, you just remember that keyword, what is mean by availability zones. It means it will maintain in a region 1 or 2 data centers for a high availability purpose. I will explain in detail.
No, that's fine. Understood now. Because I heard this, concept before. I mean, by Oracle, OCI also have this concept, but I didn't go through. That's why I have a little different, how it works basically.
Yeah,
I didn't know the logic behind, so.
Yeah,
just want to
definitely.
know.
So we have probably next session only we'll get into that concepts.
Yeah. No. By seeing this, I got little confused with the namings here. So that's what I'm just relating to each and stuff. Okay.
No
Yeah,
problem.
understood. Thank you.
Not all a problem. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Harsha, Siva, Saidu, Venkat able to follow? Any questions?
No, have we understood? As per Chiranjeev told.
Fine, sir.
Yeah. What is that?
No, whatever Chiranjeev was on, same question in my mind also running. If the
Okay.
data center
Uh-huh.
destroyed, what will do?
Yeah. We have the dedicated sessions of availability, disaster recovery, backup. We have all the scenarios with the practical examples we're going to cover. But for your question is, answer is yes. Not only Azure, every cloud service provider have the solution to run your businesses when the disaster comes in. Right? That is available. 1 minute. Battery is low. Check. Yeah. Okay. Any further questions? Okay. If there is no further questions, probably we'll wind up the session for today and we'll come back by tomorrow, same time of 9 p.m. IST. Yeah.
Surendra, most of tomorrow, basically we are traveling, Surendra, tomorrow.
Night also, 9 p.m.
Means outside, na? So maybe.
Okay. Okay. At what time you will be available? By tomorrow or Sunday?
Sunday 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 to afternoon. By afternoon will be there in Hyderabad.
If you are Sunday at least available, we'll have a couple of sessions to be covered. Yeah. Just
Sunday evening. Sunday evening will available.
if it's every time is available, probably we'll take the morning and evening one-on-one session. Yeah, we'll cover 2 sessions exactly.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Thanks then. Thanks for joining, and we'll confirm the same thing in chat as well for all of us.
Thank
Okay.
you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys. Have a good time. Bye bye. See you too.